Right. The next one is the Green Lab, and I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce your name correctly, so I'm not going to try. I'll say
Khye.
Sorry, Khye.
Khye. Yeah.
Khye Hitchcock. Thank you very much.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Khye Hitchcock toku ingoa, no Ingarangi o ka tūpuna, ko te tiriti o Waitangi toku waka, I whana mai o I Wanganui, ke ototahi toku kāinga I Nainei, ki ngā mana whenua o tēnei takiwā, nai tua huriri, tēnā koutou, nō reira, ngā mihi nui ki a koutou katoa. Good afternoon, my name is Khye Hitchcock, my pronouns are they, them, and I'm the Green Lab Director. My short mihi traces my ancestry as tauiwi, beholden to Te Tiriti o Waitangi. My family is from England. I was born in Wanganui, and Ototahi has been my home since 2015. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. I'm here to tautoko the presentations made on Monday night towards the Arts Hub and Amphitheatre in the Performing Arts Precinct. You will now be familiar with these stunning renders, and I'd like to mihi to DCM Urban, who are supporters of the Green Lab and have provided this wonderful render, which we hope sparks public imagination. I'm not sure what's happened to that slide there. The Green Lab contributes to social wellbeing ecosystems in Ototahi, Christchurch through the creation of meaningful green spaces and events. We do this because a wealth of research shows that green environments have a fundamentally positive impact on our mental and physical health, and because we love our city. We are grateful to have been supported by Christchurch City Council since 2010. Our team consists of 4 part-time employees, a group of wonderful contractors, and our governance board. Why are we involved? Firstly, we have the experience. Since 2010, we've delivered over 70 temporary green spaces in Ototahi, initially as greening the rubble. We have a decade of organisational experience in working collaboratively, testing the use of space and offering new experiences. We are embedded in the creative and placemaking communities in Ototahi, and we believe that those involved have the collective experience to make this project a success. Secondly, we have the capacity to meaningfully tautoko this project. Thanks to your ongoing funding, we have had time to participate in community ideation, project development, and to nurture relationships. This has enabled a strong degree of trust, collaboration, and resource sharing between the organisations involved in this proposal. Thirdly, our mahi centres social wellbeing and inclusion, and we think that this project offers so much potential to create these things in the central city. There's no denying the rebuild is looking great, and it's exciting to see new buildings going up and being tenanted. However, working in the central city has become increasingly expensive and prohibitive for non-profit organisations like ours, small startups, creatives, and cultural producers. In our experience, COVID has increased landowner reticence to take on risks for short-term rentals, preferring to sit on empty spaces even when rates of rebates are offered. Whilst there are still a few amazing landlords supporting creative and non-traditional uses of space, it is becoming notably less diverse as many groups are priced out. While the work of constantly changing venues and adapting practice to new spaces, whilst relying on the generosity of private landowners, was a necessity in recent times, it is not a long-term solution for creative practice. Longer-term occupation of space would hugely increase the capacity of our organisations and focus our energy where it should be, on community. Our placemaking, creative and cultural practitioners have developed an international reputation for Ototahi as an innovative and vibrant city. To maintain this, I believe we need to provide a more permanent space, both for those working now, and this brings me to my 4th point, for those working in the future. We believe in the importance of performance, creative thinking, and in nurturing opportunities for rangatahi. Young people need opportunities to explore their stories, perform them, and see themselves reflected in the city. Art can be a catalyst for inspiring social change and connecting communities. With the compounding challenges of climate change and COVID impacting people the world over, it feels really important to have spaces where we can gather safely outside and imagine possible futures together. Our tangible commitments to this initiative are based on 2 projects. The first is our WOW Pods. We were given this project to deliver by the winners of the Smart Seed program, and we have support from Isaac Construction, DCM Urban and Christchurch NZ to develop it. The project Kaupapa supports connecting with nature in the urban environment. We will plant endemic species that support pollinators and birds. The seating, as you can see, allows space for work and meetings outside the office. The pods are formed with a hexagonal base, which is able to tessellate and we believe that this fits well with the kaupapa of the amphitheatre and arts hub, and the hexagonal shape of the amphitheatre takes its inspiration from this design. The second project we wish to bring to this initiative is our community co-working and event space, Understory. We have delivered 3 iterations of this project so far and believe it demonstrates on a micro scale what could be achieved at the amphitheatre and arts hub with a group of organisations collaborating. Our Understory kaupapa seeks to learn from nature. In a thriving forest ecosystem, the understory is an interconnected network of plants and organisms that grow in the space between the ground and the canopy. It's a place where resources are shared, plants communicate, test survival strategies, and nurture rich biodiversity. The understory supports new generations of saplings, makes important contributions to the stability of the ecosystem. Imagining our city as a forest, you, the City Council, and other significant scale organisations are the big trees. The Greenland sees our role as an understory specialist. We seek to support, connect, and tautoko the diverse array of organisations and individuals that make up the Ōtautahi understory. As sweet as this metaphor is, I do have some tangible stats to share. Our first understory, Tuatahi, was meant to open the day before we went into a national lockdown. It reopened almost a month later, occupying the Arts Centre gym for 6 weeks. Despite COVID and the delay, we had almost 1,000 people through the door, with multiple events hosted by us and our collaborators. Our second understory, Tuarua, was generously hosted by The Terrace. Through end-of-year and Omicron interruptions, we maintained a steady attendance with over 50 events held during our tenancy and a return visitor rate of over 68%. Of the nearly 600 folk who filled out our voluntary entrance survey during this time, some key trends are evident. Firstly, women and gender diverse people make up the majority of our users, accounting for over 2/3 of attendees. We believe that this is especially significant in the current period where COVID impacted jobs held by women the most. We have also been told by attendees that our flexibility makes our space easier to access by those who are often juggling childcare and work. Secondly, our self-nominated ethnographic data almost mirrors the census data for ethnic groups across Ōtautahi. This shows that we are creating a space that is accessible and feels welcome across the population. When the central city still sometimes feels really dominated by Pākehā, we think this is really important. Thirdly, when offered to pay on a self-nominated sliding scale, most of our attendees paid the mid-band option, with the next highest category being the lowest access option. This tells us that affordable options for being in the central city are taken up when they're offered. We also found that people contribute in other ways when they're invested in a space. We have had over 600 volunteer hours and counting on our understory projects. A cohort of volunteers regularly give time to this initiative because they believe it is important to have this kind of shared space in the central city. They feel welcome and part of the community and find meaning in contribution. I've included some feedback from some of our regulars in this presentation, most of which you can read at your leisure, but I think this quote from artist Audrey Baldwin really sums it up. As a freelance creative that works in event production, public programming, and public art, I need spaces to operate in which are accessible, flexible, and welcoming. There is a severe lack of affordable, centrally located workspaces in Ōtautahi. Understory is an oasis in a sea of bland and alienating corporate spaces. Our understory journey, as well as our organisational experiences of the past decade, have showed us the value of accessible, community-focused spaces. We have seen multiple collaborations and connections flourish at understory, as regular proximity creates trust and opportunities. The Arts Hub represents an investment in creative community in this city. The amphitheatre would particularly support some of those who have done it hard during COVID. Performing and creative arts have largely been cancelled as indoor gathering was unsafe. This outdoor venue can be used by multiple individuals, organisations and festivals, giving them continuity options during uncertain times. Further, many artists left after the quakes, but lately we have seen them returning due to COVID and the cost of living increasing elsewhere. While the ones who stayed made use of temporary funding post-disaster, this has now largely dried up. We've turned to arts again and again to help this city heal, and during COVID lockdowns, the arts have kept us entertained and acted as a balm. The arts are not an optional extra in a thriving community, they are essential. This is an opportunity for Ōtautahi to retain its creatives after university and reap the benefits of having non-linear thinkers embedded in its community. The Green Lab wholeheartedly backs this project. We urge you to support this vital piece of infrastructure for the arts in Ōtautahi. We think it will enliven our city and increase a sense of well-being and belonging. The proposed facilities offer creative community organisations a place to nurture the seedlings of our collective future, connect and share resources, and imagine new possibilities for our city. Please work with us to help make this happen. Ngā mihi nui ki a koutou katoa. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Kia you've left 25 seconds for a quick question. But an excellent presentation.
Carefully timed.
If no one's got a question, I'd just like to thank you for what you do. I mean, obviously the Green Lab's been a big part of our city's recovery since the earthquakes, and you know, it's just great to see it all sort of shown in that graphic way. So you've done a really good job of presenting. Sorry, Celeste, I didn't see your hand up.
Oh, I was going to say the same.
Right. Oh, well, I got him first. That's the advantage of being the chair. But no, thank you very much. And yeah, I mean, we're looking at all of these options, and you know, I know that the people that have presented this will really appreciate the value that you've added to the conversation.
Kia ora.
Thank you very much. Kia ora. And now we have Mahanui Kura Taio,